I've got to do the news!
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you. What?
Are we ready, clocks?
Solidari-Tea people, welcome on stream. This is the Brews at 10 and you're watching My Left Eye. I'm your humble host Lefty. Thanks for joining us this evening. Peasants Revolts, nice to see you. First in the chat tonight, Andrew Luke, fellow YouTuber Andrew Luke, nice to see you as well, brother. Do check out Andrew Luke's page or hit collabs on My Left Eye for our episode of Screen Cleaner. That was great to appear on Season 2, Episode 1 of Screen Cleaner with Andrew Luke. Great channel, thank you very much. And subscribe. Heddy as well, nice to see you in chat, brother. Yeah, thanks for being here, kicking off another week. Let's see what delights await, or perhaps not. Don't worry, we have a few humorous bits and pieces to try and keep our spirits up. Do hit thumbs up on the stream if you're just joining us as well. And in fact, we'll kick off with the members roster. Sorry about the space there. It was literally just a space on the spreadsheet. But to all 111 members, I would say thank you very much. There are lots of ways to help us out on the channel. Super Chat's open if you're watching live, as well as super stickers. If you're catching up later on, there's super thanks and the trusty Buy Me a Coffee page. It's always there. You'll find the link in the description of any content on the channel. And if you're watching on a mobile device, please do use a relatively new feature on YouTube. Height points. If you hit thumbs up, it should prompt you to give some height points as well. please do that. Gives us a boost on the algorithm. That is on video content. Thanks for all your recent comments on the Count Binface Ultimate Meme Gallery video as well. And that's been a big help. Cool Cats, thanks for joining us. We were on time here, not sure if there's any sort of delay out there. But no, kicking off promptly as always, so you can set your watch by the Brews at 10. Even if we have to run to get there, as you can see at the start in the sort of pre-stream shenanigans anyway. Welcome one and all. And we did actually get over 6.1 thousand subscribers as well. We were just below 6.1 on yesterday's stream. So that's been awesome as well. Another fractional landmark, but a landmark nonetheless a target. Set yourself small targets and, you know, there you go. Mr. Beast is sweating. I know he is. We've got to get rid of this My Left Eye guy. Okay, I think I've done all of the plugs and self-promotion, yeah. Check out recent content, that sort of thing. Social media as well, obviously. We're on Blue Sky, Twitter and Mastodon. You can give us a follow there at My Left Eye UK. And we do follow back all genuine socialist accounts. No crypto shit, please. No fucking dating app shit. Genuine socialist accounts. Yeah. Always nice to connect. Let's brew this thing.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Right, I guess I'll go over what's coming up, unless you've prepared something incredible, Phil.
Coming up.
The fuck is this?
It's Burnha-rama as the new Prime Minister meets with Laura 300k per year Kussenberg. 4 billion dead. Bill McGuire and Roger Hallam talk us through the breakthrough new climate project. And we've got some hot seats, baby, this evening as Count Binface launches his 20-point Clacton manifesto, and at Reform HQ, Farage gets flagged by Take Back Power. All coming up tonight on the Brews at 10. Solidari-Tea.
Well, fair enough. That was half decent, I guess, Phil. So that's what's coming up. Yes. Burnham on Kussenberg. We've got a new campaign launch and a talk from Bill McGuire. Long-term viewers will know he's one of my favourite climate scientists. Friend of mine as well. And Roger Hallam, another friend of mine, on a Zoom talk that I was on just the other day. Got some excerpts from that. And a whole bunch more, as you heard there. This could be the best live stream
In the world.
But first, before we get into serious matters, we'll have a bit of comedy. Did actually mean to play this one on last night's stream, but sort of run out of time. It's Old But Gold. This one came across the YouTube algorithm the other day, and always like to check out Michael Spicer. This one's from a few years ago, but it's one of those evergreen ones. not about, you know, a particular story at the time, because it's about a classic British politician, as you'll see here. So if you've not seen this one before, do enjoy. And there's a link to Michael Spicer's YouTube channel in the description of this stream, as well as for the video. Check it out, hit thumbs up on Michael Spicer's page, and subscribe, like you're going to do for Andrew Luke's page as well. Solidari-Tea. Let's check this one out. It's one of the Room Next Door series that I'm sure a lot of you have seen before. Great series.
I mean, it's all right for a film star.
Okay, and clapperboard, please.
Scene 4, take 1.
The Conservative and National Liberal parties
Set in the forefront of their policy.
set in the forefront of their policy a basic standard
Stop looking at me, the camera, the camera.
on this broad foundation of a free and active society.
Okay, that wasn't
Let's
really.
leave that bit out.
Yes, we will do. Actually, I think perhaps we should just do that all over again from the top. Hang on. The thing is, towards the end of that take, you had your eyes sort of closed. You looked like you were asleep. And this is supposed to be a rousing speech, Mr. Churchill, and people aren't going to feel roused if you look like you're about to nod off and dribble.
3-1, RT.
Clap the board, clap the board! Literally the one thing you're supposed to do. Is clap the... Sorry. And action. And... And action. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's it, keep looking at the camera.
permit me, please, to claim your attention for a moment.
Excellent, excellent, well done.
It can only be a moment,
Remember to keep your eyes open.
for as you know, we are all of us
But don't bulge them, close them a bit more.
strictly rationed. Wasn't that better?
Well, Mr. Churchill, I think we need...
Excellent. Room Next Door, Michael Spicer. Link in the description, like I said. Check out the channel. But what do you expect from a alcoholic chain smoker, chain cigar smoker? Probably was like that. Awesome stuff. And gifted memberships are also awesome stuff. Thank you, Andy. I really appreciate that. Let's update the targets. 112. What are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to big up Andrew Luke in the chat, please, everybody. Solidari-Tea for that. Elaine loves coffee. Hope you enjoy your perks. Nice username as well. Hot beverage related, of course. But whether you like tea or coffee, we can provide. Okay, time to get serious now, people.
This is actually very serious.
Cool Cats, that's an interesting conspiracy theory, but it can't possibly be true. I suspect I know who the Ripper was. Anyway, that's another subject for another time. Winston Churchill.
He's an asshole too, sir. Gun is made first class Philip asshole.
Also starved 2 million Indians to death. So, yeah. They don't put that on the banknotes, do they? Get your fivers out. I don't think it says it anywhere. Anyway. Right, yeah, first we'll get into this Burnha-rama with Laura Kussenberg. And this was filmed yesterday. We showed a couple of snippets that they released. But this is the full thing. First time watch for me, no spoilers in the chat please. And we'll see if we can get through this, kind of running the gauntlet for me, as I'm attempting to escape a previous trigger phrase, a, shall we say, Pavlovian response mechanism that's set off by a certain word. Hopefully Andy Burnham will avoid using it, and yeah. We'll see what other crap he can come up with, though, in this full excerpt, of course, from number 10, in North. As he's saved himself a commute, along with half the cabinet as well. With this number 10 North bollocks, which I'll tell you as a Mancunian, as a Manchester-based channel, this is bollocks from Burnham. This Manchesterism, this number 10 North. It's nothing about devolution in the area. It's just a PR stunt, and we're going to see plenty of those. As he, well, I think he's just going to spend the next 2 years doing the same that Starmer did, but trying to make a sort of lighter PR alongside it to cushion the blow of the tough decisions and difficult choices that he's already said he's going to be making. No rent controls, for example. Rumours abound that he's going to be stripping youth disability funding, for example, and carers budgets. Well, let's see what happens in this interview. Is it going to be the usual softly from Kussenberg? I suspect so. She just wants another name on a CV. Like I said yesterday, it's all about her. The Kussenberg interview, as it's titled. And, yeah. The ego whirring away. So there's two mega egos here in the seats. Let's see what's happening. She does politics, you know.
Hi, Laura.
Hiya, what took you so long?
Oh, you know, like to make an entrance.
Obviously, I've seen these opening few seconds just whilst I was uploading the thing. That bit there, he is notoriously late, Burnham. Had this reputation for a while, and it's because he stops and talks crap to everybody who's on the way. So it appears that he did the same yesterday morning, kept Laura Kussenberg waiting while he, stopped to tell lies to everybody who he passed. That's the Burnham way. He calls that making an entrance.
The elected leader of the Labour Party is Andy Burnham. So Andy Burnham's on stage at the moment. He's just been named as a leader, but I've got a whisper because we're actually just right backstage.
So it's these bits that make me cringe. Look, I'm Monica Spick. right here. You know, me. Look where I am. Look where you know, it's a fucking job at the end of the day. Oh, doesn't that make us feel really tense? I'm not buying it. All this hype.
Ushered in by Labour and elected by the wider public. Come with me. We've been up close with the new Prime Minister in his first week in power, able at last to question
there's a lot of
his
scaffolding in
plans
town
for
at the moment.
home and abroad.
Okay.
Hi. I think we're going to have a wee chat.
I do feel ready. I do feel that this is the moment.
Andy Burnham hasn't been elected by the whole country.
I'm the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years, just over. That's not good enough.
But yet he's saying his time in office represents
What, you're going to go for 1811?
the biggest change to the UK in 4 decades.
What a welcome.
That's a huge statement.
Sorry about the
to
slight
make.
lag. It should
Do you
correct
rule out having a
itself
general
here.
election before 2029?
Well, I'm going to rule it out. Yeah, there's no early general election. I don't think people want it.
We're here to do Andy Burnham's first big interview as Prime Minister.
I won't change.
And remember what I said yesterday, they must have had a lot of notice to get the lease on the building, all the rooms in the building and all of the decorations and all the rest of it. This was planned for a very long time. You can't just go, oh, we're going to set up this thing in Manchester, and then a couple of days, oh look, poof, it's magically appeared out of nowhere.
Coming into this job.
We know a lot about what Andy Burnham believes as he moves into Downing Street. Where there are a lot of blanks is how he might actually apply those beliefs to the huge specific decisions that he's got to make on all our behalfs.
Is that what 300 grand a year gets us in terms of a free intro? It's hardly fucking Stephen Fry, is it?
Monday morning, and there's something quite familiar about being on the way to Downing Street to see one Prime Minister leave and another one walk in.
Keep the camera on me. Keep it, and just fucking. We don't give a fuck about Kussenberg. Do you know how much time I've spent on that fucking road in my bastard life? And I've been in Downing Street quite a few times as well. But fucking hell, the British public don't need to see you excitedly walking down fucking Whitehall. And then, oh, look, I'm going through the gates at number 10 now. Fucking hell, can you believe it? Me, the fucking main political correspondent for the fucking BBC. And here I am, nervously showing my ID to the guards in this little fucking wee hut here. Like, just fucking get on with it, Kussenberg. Fucking waste of time and money. Jesus wept. Can't stand her. What do you think, Billy?
Fuck off.
Yeah. Come on, Kussenberg.
On with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
Andy Burnham's got Keir Starmer out. What he hasn't done yet is answer huge questions about how he'd run the economy. How's he going to deal with the relationship?
Who fucking decided to do it like that? Yeah, we'll have you in the middle of a fucking crowd of people making a load of clattering noise and you do a bit to camera. That'll look good.
With Donald Trump?
Again, £330,000 a year, I believe it is, just for the fucking just for the presenter, let alone the rest. You can see the London Eye there at Victoria Park, shot, well, not too far away.
There's so much we don't know. We know what he believes, but we don't know what he'll decide.
We don't know what he fucking believes. He's a fucking weather vane. He's done so many U-turns in the first week. He's given the Tories and Starmer a run for the money already. Fucking hell. We know what he believes. Yeah. He just believes that he should be on top. That's all I can see he believes at the moment.
Went to the palace around midday, and then, yeah, things came at me pretty quickly.
We're actually inside Downing Street.
Yeah, they came at us pretty quickly as well.
Room.
Because nobody in Labour had the balls to stand up to this guy. When they all pretend that they've got the competency in their individual roles, remember that none of them had the quality to stand up and contest as leader.
Andy Burnham is just on his way from Buckingham Palace here to Downing Street. He's going to walk in a few minutes as Prime Minister for the first time. Staff are rushing around getting everything ready. The Burnham family are all arriving. And
God, it's like oh, that scene in fucking Home Alone, where they're all just fucking rushing around the bottom of the staircase. Get on with it.
in a few minutes he'll be here as our 59th Prime Minister.
Nothing could quite prepare you for a day like last Monday.
Nearly here.
What a welcome. What a welcome.
Prime Minister.
Yeah, just pretend you've won an election. Pretend you've won a genuine leadership race as well at the same time. He's in fucking La La Land, this guy.
How big is the job ahead?
It's a big job, but look at the team. The team are brilliant.
And you've got to pick your cabinet.
Team?
I do. Lots of...
Team? I'll tell you about the fucking team.
All we got here is shit.
Big things to come. But thanks, Laura. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much.
You're a total bloody shambles!
So the new Prime Minister arrived here in his outpost, number 10 North, and after all the clapping, all the celebration, all Andy Burnham's smiles, now there are big questions for him about how he's going to run the country. And we're about to do his first big interview, of course, in number 10 North. Prime Minister, you're...
3.5 minutes there was of that. 3.5 minutes of Laura Kussenberg gets excited to meet the Prime Minister.
Your springboard to power was being a very popular mayor here in Manchester, but now you represent all of us in the UK and all of us around the world at a time of huge turmoil. The UK's biggest ally is Donald Trump. How was your first call with him?
It was a good call. It was a warm call. Lasted for...
Warm?
15 minutes or so.
Well, we've already been through this one, I think.
It was... yeah, it
this
got
was
us
one
off
of the
to a good
bits
start.
they released.
And obviously, it's a relationship that you take extremely seriously. I need to build a way of working with the president that works for him, but works for us too. And
how much can you get away with telling him what for before he throws his toys out the prom and chucks a load of tariffs around?
Always be clear about where I think Britain's interest lies. I'm not going to go into this and not be clear about that. But
well, I was very clear what I thought about the term national interests on yesterday's stream. I think it's ridiculously broad. But Burnham's got to do better against Trump, especially on Iran, especially on Gaza.
I think it's always important. I'm somebody who tries to work with people, make that connection with people. I think we made an initial connection, and obviously we'll see where we go from here.
Donald Trump started a war of choice against Iran, and that affects all of us with oil prices rising. Was his strategy to attack a mistake?
Well, I think the Prime Minister before...
How about was bombing a school full of kids morally and legally wrong?
Keir Starmer did the right thing, I think, in taking the approach that he did.
Do you? You think he took the right approach? Then why are you sitting there?
I find that rather difficult to believe.
Why did he plummet in the polls? Why did he become statistically the least popular Prime Minister in history?
And I pay tribute to him. He did step back. He did.
It wasn't like he wanted a holiday. He was forced out by his own party, who knew that he didn't have a leg to stand on. Has Andy Burnham been living in a septic tank for the last 6 months?
Call for caution. And the position he took, I think, was the right position, where it does involve British troops being at risk or attacks on allies.
Well, that's too late, because Iran have said in no uncertain terms that they would consider us legitimate targets if we continue to allow Donald Trump to use our RAF bases, Andy. And it's like it is in Ukraine with Russia. It's painting a target on our backs and then go, oh no, look how unsafe all of Europe is, and we've got to spend so much on defence now, haven't we, to fight these? Oh, where have these enemies come from? We were just sitting here minding our own business. You know, there's a reason why, say, for example, you know, Scandinavian countries don't get brought into this, because they don't go around the world causing a load of shit or diving into bed with Donald Trump when he's causing a load of shit. And the same goes for a lot of other countries as well. Of course, unless they just happen to have a shitload of oil reserves, or an elected socialist government, in which case the US take interest. But generally, if you don't get involved, then trouble doesn't come to you. That's the way geopolitics works. So it's very responsible to be involved, because you make us targets by that decision and by that action.
Obviously, there is a case for Britain to support the defence of our allies and our own troops.
But was Donald Trump's decision a mistake?
Why should our taxes pay for Trump's fucking ridiculous actions in Iran and protecting US citizens who were there breaking international law? Why should we support that? Like, morally and financially again. The two are sort of intertwined at the moment, but there's no justification in it. And don't give me any bullshit about Iranian nuclear ambitions for nuclear weapons. I'm certainly not going to take that from countries with stockpiles like the United States of America. We would certainly be rank hypocrites for saying it ourselves as well. And certainly when we know that in fact Iran have no such ambition, and that it's used for other scientific purposes, of course.
Mistake, because we are all paying the price indirectly with the oil price, and now also Iran has made a threat against the UK, saying we are a legitimate target. So was it a strategic mistake for Donald Trump to go into Iran?
There's been concern, hasn't there, about the conflict, the escalating nature of it, and that has been
very soft wording from Burnham, very soft.
Pathetic!
Communicated, and Britain communicated that at the time. I have been briefed, and I am being briefed regularly on the situation, and that will remain the case.
But you say people had concerns about Trump attacking Iran. Did you have a concern? Do you have the concern right now that it was a strategic mistake, and we're all paying the price in potential more inflation, maybe more shocks to the economy, and a threat to this country from the Iranians?
I did have a concern at the time. I think I voiced that concern at the time as Mayor of Greater Manchester as the effect came through, and my voice.
Yeah, but you've been a duplicitous U-turning bastard, so you can't refer to anything that you've said in the past, really, can you?
Voice was one of many around the world. And I think those voices, in some ways, had an influence. Obviously, the US and Iran came back to the negotiating table. And obviously then there was an uneasy truce with the process of talks. And we all would want to see de-escalation.
An uneasy truce. That's a nice way of putting that. America just straight up ignored the ceasefire and started to attack Iranian vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. That's one way of putting it.
And a return
certainly has a way with words. But I'm a bit of a cunning linguist myself, Andrew.
Into that situation. So I will be clear, as I said a moment ago, about where Britain's interest lies. I won't hold back from saying what I think is right and what represents the feeling of people here, but I also have to live in the world that we're in.
You're doing it because Israel tell you to.
And make pragmatic decisions
you follow orders.
The best interests of the country.
Do you think that you can trust Donald Trump?
Well, I've had one phone call.
This is the bit we've seen.
treat people as I find them, and it was a good exchange. It was, as I said before, it was...
So yeah, like I said yesterday, he's doing the bit now where he pretends that he doesn't know Donald Trump by reputation. That he's an absolutely, you know, corrupt and all the rest of it, etc. adjectives. I said it all on yesterday's stream, but sitting there and pretending that he doesn't know Trump and he's going to take him off of one short phone call that he's had with him is ridiculous.
A warm exchange. So I am that kind of politician. I always will see, judge people as I find them. I've lived my whole life by that, and I will continue to live my life by that. Sometimes, you know, you get...
One of Floki's and Adam Gordon in the chat. Nice to see you both. Solidarity. An
impression of somebody from media, I will judge as I find, and I found him...
Oh, this is so lame already. This is someone who just assured us he's going to stand up to Donald Trump where UK interests are concerned. And now he's going to pretend that he doesn't know what an absolute piece of human excrement he is, the pumpkin spice Palpatine.
To be really warm on Monday, but obviously, you know, we will continue to build a relationship as we go forward.
But as things stand, you're not sure. So you're...
Of all the things you would describe him as, Donald Trump, emotionally warm. Give me a break.
Say you'll feel your way. You're not sure at this stage that you can place your trust in him as a fellow leader.
It's a changing world, isn't it? And you just have to obviously call things as they develop.
And he dances around and he dances. Look at him, he's dancing like fucking Fred Astaire here. Fuck me. He just won't land on it, will he? Just all the way around, but never on the answer. Oh, well, it's a changing world, isn't it? You never know what's going to happen in the future. I can't just fucking say that you know that Donald Trump is what can you say? You can say so many things about Donald Trump, but Andy Burnham doesn't want to say a single one of them. Look at the fucking TVs there as well, set up. 10 North. I really hate this. It's been a week. This branding. And let's see through the window there. What can we see in town? This is more interesting than. Ah, that's much better. You can see Deansgate there in the background. I'll let these two crack on, I guess. Burnham's slightly out of frame there, isn't he? Shall I just bring him in a bit more? There we go. Perfect. It's better than you get for Laura Kussenberg's salary.
Point say that I won't take a different opinion from him, that I will need to voice a different opinion. That
True. Not Burnham, Andrew Luke in the chats. Well, maybe she might put that on a CV as well. I don't know if it does happen, if that is what she's looking for. I think that'd be dandy, and I'll let you in on a wee bit else as well, you know.
Is right for Britain, and I will do that. People have seen me do that throughout my political career here during the pandemic.
Totally forgotten what they're talking about. It's Trump, yeah.
When I had disagreements with the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, there have been other moments in my political career where I have kind of stood outside the consensus and spoken for the public. My strength always is in remaining close to people, close to the public. That will not change.
And lying to the public as closely as you can.
Because I'm Prime Minister.
So you'd be willing to call Donald Trump out if you think that's the right thing?
Of course. I mean,
to her credit, she's pressed a couple of times at least already with that one, so she does want to try and get a straight answer out of him. Maybe she's being a bit more assertive because she's in the kind of mood that Andrew Luke suggests. I'm not going to make any suggestions of my own where that's concerned. The window view's nicer than I expect it is. I expected his... Looks like a Travelodge lobby. Yeah. Good observation there, Adam Gordon.
Got to go into this. All leaders have to do that. You have to defend your own national interest before anything else. That's what you're required to do if you're to do this.
What? Going stealing oil? Holding the world to the barrel of a gun for 200 years? What sort of other national interests have we had in, recent centuries? Come on, Andy. We're a faded fucking empire, for God's sake.
Job properly. I will always put Britain's interests first.
And if there is an attack on UK assets, or even in the UK, as they've threatened to do from Iran, would you, as Prime Minister, order a strike back?
I mean, I am not going to get into the position of sort of, if you like, guessing what scenarios might.
It's called a hypothetical, Andy.
Develop. It's a challenging situation. De-escalation is the thing that I think we need to see, and I will certainly be adding my voice to the other voices of leaders.
This could get confusing when I'm sometimes talking to Andy Burnham and sometimes Andrew Luke in the chat. I'll try and make it clearer.
Around the world who are calling for
Stick
the
with
same.
Burnham.
Are you going to give Donald Trump what he wants, but also what your Chancellor, John Healey, wants, which is further increases in defence spending?
Of course he's going to get it. Look who's in charge now. Fucking West Street. Jesus wept. Yeah, of course he's going to get it. And he made that speech at the investors' conference recently as well. Defence is back, and believes in the 3.5 by 35, this slogan that they're throwing around for the weapons manufacturers. Yeah, he will write blank cheques for John Healey. That's exactly why it's been set up the way it has. There's no two ways about it, without question.
When your Chancellor was Defence Secretary, he said very clearly in black and white that our country would not be safe unless the Prime Minister committed to spending 3% of national income on defence by 2030. Will you make...
Because I don't know if you've heard, but the Norsemen cometh, people. Yes. And the Anglo-Saxons are going to invade again at the same time as the Normans from the south. The sneaky bastards. And then we'll have to fight off the Russians as Putin sweeps through Europe. And meanwhile, in Central Europe, The Birth of a Nation is playing in cinemas. No. We need all this money. It's definitely not for the industrial military complex and private military profits. We have to be safe. Safe from the Vikings. Thank Christ. Thank Jesus Christ of Bethlehem for Andy Burnham. I feel safer already.
That promise to keep us safe here and now?
Well, I appointed my new Chancellor very aware of what he had said about the critical importance of defence spending and the position that he had taken about that. The first challenge facing us both is to ensure that the defence investment plan is fully funded, and that's the thing that's right in front of us, and we need to work that through as we go towards the budget later this year.
But he said specifically the country will not be safe unless the Prime Minister sets a date of when we're going to hit 3% of national income. Now, it sounds like you're not ready to commit to that yet.
Well, I think that's a little unfair because
Moving uncomfortably in the chair, is he perhaps trying to disguise flatulence, or is he perhaps being responsive to Laura Kussenberg's subconscious affections that Andrew Luke in chat was ascribing to earlier?
I was standing in Downing Street just a few days ago talking about...
Awkward checking that the bottom of the blazer is completely closed. What's he trying to hide?
About the crucial importance of Britain honouring its commitments on defence, its NATO commitments to international partners. You know, I'm really, really very clear about that. And to...
Well, that sums it up. Yeah. I say vague. He says clear.
There's a specific commitment that John...
Well, there's the rug in question, the Travelodge truck, yeah. Or, well, you can't say Wetherspoons because, trivial fact, each Wetherspoons carpet is actually unique. And that's about as interesting as they get, except most of them don't play music, but that aesthetic. Maybe the number 10 North rug set hasn't arrived yet. I'm surprised he's not wearing number 10 North fucking slippers.
They put in black and white, which was it has to be 3% by 2030.
Merchandising.
I'm absolutely committed to what we promised our NATO partners, and that is my commitment. Now we've got to work out the way of doing that, but I do not want to see Britain regarded as a country that people can't trust anymore. I don't.
Oh, bloody hell! It's a bit late for that, Andrew. Again, have you been living in a septic tank, or under a rock, or been in a coma? Well, we know he's not been in a fucking coma for the last 6 months or however long. Honestly, you go outside of Britain and ask other people from Europe or around the world about our reputation. Whether it's good or bad, a lot of them certainly have a concept of British life that doesn't exist. But no, our international reputation is in ruin, for we are in league with devil at number 10 North.
I don't think anyone wants us to be in that position.
And in order to do that, that will mean extra billions. And when you look at government spending, the cost of sickness and disability benefits for working age people is now almost as much as the defence budget. Are there people claiming benefits who, in your view, don't need them?
Well,
So she's set him up there for who he's going to be going for first, like I said before. We started watching this. There have been some rumours going around about cuts coming from the care sector, from youth employment and other financed programmes as well. Taking it away from the kids and the disabled. That's a really nice way to kick off your premiership, Mr. What was it? Growth in every postcode and hope in every heart. Hope in every heart. We're just taking your carers away, love. Bloody hell, this guy. This fucking guy right here.
I wouldn't necessarily go straight to blaming those people. What I
Who?
would say is
Who are you
that
going
there
for?
are people in the benefit.
She's doing Kussenberg's thinky face. What you talking about there, Andy?
I wouldn't necessarily go straight to blaming those people.
That's £330 worth of grey matter whirling around in Kussenberg's head right there. That's 330 grams worth of thoughts as she puts her finger to her mouth to let the audience know in no uncertain terms that she's definitely thinking of something witty. No, what can I fucking pull out my arse this time?
I would say is that there are people in the benefit system, young people in their 20s, who have been, I would say,
as opposed to old people in their 20s.
Quite seriously let.
That's the problem with society now. All these elderly 20-year-olds
down because the support wasn't there for them when it should have been there. So I'm talking about a school system that does.
Doc, nice to see you. Yeah, she's rebooting. Maybe that's what happens when she reboots. But then the theme music, the normal Sunday Kussenberg theme music starts, and then she starts to do that stupid fucking walk that she does, the authoritative bounding walk in, again, the loud, shocking pink suit.
Doesn't have the right support for young people with special educational needs or disabilities. I'm talking about an education system that for a very long time has been obsessed on the university route, but hasn't done enough for, important point, hasn't done enough for young people who want
What are you buttering people up for? Come on.
And in many ways, has
spit it out, for fuck's sake.
Treated them as second-class students. Hasn't done enough for young people at 16 who want to get an apprenticeship, a work-related opportunity. And that all leaves people in a position when they get to their late teenage years that they don't know where life is taking them. So I don't blame them. I don't think the support has been there for them in the way that it should have been.
Does your plan for welfare, though, currently include...
Yeah, that really didn't relate to the question about welfare whatsoever, which implies it's something he doesn't want to talk about.
...include reducing benefits from anyone who currently receives them or removing them from anyone who currently receives them? Because there'll be some people watching this who thinks there are too many people on benefits who play the system. There'll be other people watching who might feel really anxious that benefits they rely on will be taken away from...
Or there might be other people watching that know that, say, corporate fraud vastly outstrips welfare fraud. Laura, playing the benefit street game again, trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Vilify people who unfortunately have to claim benefits. The biggest so-called benefit that exists, the biggest welfare, is pensions, which isn't a benefit. Obviously, that's just society paying back pensioners for paying in the whole working lives, part of the deal. Well, that's what it's supposed to be about. Yeah, try telling that to some of the waspy women, for example, or other people who've had their pensions stripped away or stolen or simply vanished because of dodgy investments by dodgy banks. But just back to the original point there. Sorry, I'm just a bit flummoxed by Kussenberg and Burnham here and the whole welfare thing. It really gets to me every time the mainstream media try and do this and try and create this imagery around people who claim benefits. She's kind of pressing him like, are you not going to say that you're going to attack people who are on universal credit or people who are looking for jobs? Because they're the people who she'd go after first, of course, being the ardent Tory that she is. He's not saying either way.
From them, you know, this is not a binary debate, but there's anxiety on all sides.
What about go for the billionaires?
As your plans stand,
are you going to suggest
do they
that,
include
Kussenberg?
removing benefits from anyone or reducing benefits for anyone?
It's about changing the nature of the support and making some of the support conditional upon people.
Yes, we'll take that as a yes.
Opportunities that are presented.
We'll take this as a yeah. Even Kussenberg knows. And I guess she was correct. There will be people who do rely on benefits who will be genuinely worried about what Burnham's plans are, and even more worried when they hear this excuse for an answer.
I think it's a good thing that the government has given guarantees of opportunities for young people, and I think
guarantees of opportunities. What's that? An opportunity? You get an opportunity when you buy a frigging lottery ticket, even though it's astronomical odds. Opportunity for what? And this is the thing. You know, people go through a state education. That's no guarantee of walking into a job, even if you get all, you know, top grades on your GCSEs, and then if you go into further education again, it's no guarantee if you go to college or sixth form or any other institution, and then onto university, where again, even though you've been through all of that, and again you might have done very well, you have to sell yourself to a university. You have to say please, you know, you have to beg to be able to go, not just with your grades, other areas of the application as well. And even then, when you get your diploma, your degree, your master's, your doctorate, whatever it is that you study at university, it's no guarantee anyway. And again, it's just what an opportunity. And by that time, you're already a third of the way through your fucking life.
We need to continue down that approach, and where mental health support is needed, for instance, it's provided in work to support people in an opportunity. Let me just say something more, though, about what you're driving at, which is the welfare bill. I think we've got to get really serious as a country at getting the welfare bill down. And one of the things I would point to was the sell-off of social and council homes in the 1980s onwards that has left us chasing rents in the private rented sector.
It has, but we've had Angela Rayner go out and try to convince us that her personal ambition alone will reach the 1.5 million affordable homes target, and affordable being the operative word in that, because we don't just want to see 1.5 million private houses with private profit going to a small number of people. They've got to be used to rebuild communities. And yeah, that is what has happened since the 1980s. Of course.
Well, who do you suggest we play? Thatcher!
But Burnham's not the solution, and Angela Rayner certainly isn't going to be the solution in charge of housing. So there's 2 years left in Labour's term, and they've built just over 100,000. 100,000 out of 1.5 million. That gives them 2 years, 50% of the time, to complete over 80% of the target. It's not going to happen.
Through the benefit
TikTok
system, which means we've got a very high...
And I'm not talking about the app.
...housing benefit bill in this country, and the building of new council and social homes over time will help get that benefit bill down in a fair and sustainable way. And I think the thing I'm just pushing back on is this idea that, you know, we go to a kind of crude approach, crude cuts to benefit.
She's looks confused, but she's sounding as though she knows what he's on about. I'm not sure that I know what he's on about. Bringing the benefit bill down. Like he says, there are going to be cuts. There are going to be cuts.
It's to get the welfare bill down. Often
more cuts than a Scream film.
And that just pushes people into even more crisis and then even more public spending in another part of the system. We need a system that sets people up for success rather than pays for failure.
You have this week doled out quite a lot of things that you hope people will like. People may well like them, capping bus fares, also promising to cut taxes on pubs and take...
Well, tit for tat. It was Labour who put up bus fares. Burnham sort of stubbornly refused here in Manchester, and that's happened. So essentially, back where we were at the start, on a national scale, at least, if it happens. It's not so much giving people something as much as temporarily taking it away, I guess, in a sense.
Off electricity, but the country's problems and the country's debts.
And it was the same with the two-child benefit cap as well. They wanted loads of applause and praise for removing the two-child benefit cap, as though they didn't introduce it themselves. Yeah, that wasn't Burnham. That was Starmer's Labour. The same logic and principles, or lack of, apply. Someone's setting fireworks off at 11 o'clock on what appears to be a insignificant Monday. Not too far away. But this is town.
Are massive. This defence we've discussed. You want finally to fix social care. We know you care passionately about that. Will you commit to creating a new social care system before the next election?
I will go as quickly as I can on the reform of social care. Well, it's not.
No, it's not the fucking same, is it? Well, she has caught him out.
Which is what you asked, takes time. I think there are major changes you can make before the next election. And the reason why I say I'll go as quickly as I can is because I believe broken social care is the biggest cause of corridor care in the NHS. It's the biggest cause of billions being spent on people unnecessarily going into hospital from care in their home or in a residential care home, because sometimes the care workers supporting them just feel they've no choice but to ring 999. Let me make this point because it's very personal to me. And then people have long stays in hospital, which never should have happened in the first place.
You're a
And then
total
they
bloody
end up
shambles!
Fit to go home, but unable to be discharged because the social care isn't there. This costs the NHS billions of pounds, and we will never get the NHS back to good waiting time standards.
You're trying to put a price on good health and good social care
until we fix social care.
And that's the point, though, isn't it? This is something, actually, in interviews, you and I have discussed this for 20 years.
Yeah.
There have been proposals on the table, very similar proposals being put on the table time after time after time after time. This is about political will, is it not?
Yes.
And it's about being willing to put money onto it.
Yes.
So you don't, it may be suggested, need to wait for new proposals. This is about whether or not you, as a new Prime Minister, want to commit to it, want to commit taxpayers' money to it, want to commit political energy.
Of course he's dragging his feet on it, Laura, because he's going to be absolutely useless on it. It's going to be more private contracts. And they don't know which way around they want it. 1 minute it's, oh, these hospitals are too full. And the next minute it's, we've created so many more hundreds of thousands of appointments. They can't decide if they want to fill them up or clear them out.
To it. And you might not have time.
And I won't change coming into this job. I'm not going to take different positions than the ones I've long put to you in interviews. I will, whatever political capital I have, I will put in to fixing.
Political capital. Here's your political capital.
All we got here is shit.
Broken social care, and I would not want to leave office.
You still have the same people at your disposal that Keir Starmer had. You just put them in different positions, most of whom are ill-suited, you know, for the positions that they now hold as well. So it's not as though you've improved the people that are in the Labour Party, because it's still exactly the same. That's what really frustrates me, that he thinks he can just, well, to put it in his terms, rewire the circuitry with his circuit breaker and get different results, because it's not going to happen, because all they got is shit.
Without having brought in the substantial change, the new system of social care that you described. I can't put a timeline on it right here, right now, but I know actually, not just for the needs of the people who need social care support and work within that system. If we don't do it, the NHS will collapse under the weight of trying to care for people who've really not really needed to end up in the NHS system.
Lots of things that you care about are expensive and costly.
But we're paying for social care at the moment.
But should the wealthy in this country get ready to pay more tax in Burnham's Britain? You've even got Gary Lineker, who you did an interview with the other day, saying he...
Yeah, this millionaires behind taxing millionaires thing, of course, has been pretty big recently. Gary Lineker, who Laura Kussenberg mentioned there as well, but also Gary Stevenson, the YouTuber, apparently, has had some sort of issue with YouTube, or he's seen some sort of mass exodus from his channel or something, but I think everything he's said about taxing the rich has been spot on. Yeah, a few people have tried to label him a hypocrite, which is the first sort of comeback at millionaires whenever they suggest being taxed more as well. I'm not too sure about the ins and outs of it, because I've still not seen his documentary in full. I think it was something that he said in that documentary that's caused all this sort of stir. But if even the millionaires themselves are saying it, then it's got to happen. A tax on not just millionaires, but the super billionaires. Don't give us any crap about them taking the business away and all the rest of it, because that never washes, realistically. It's got to be done. It's the only simple, pragmatic solution. It's just that she happens to be talking to people who are friends with people who are friends with people and it's all one club and we're not in it.
And as few of his rich pals should pay more. Maybe on their property? Should the wealthy be ready to pay more tax on their assets and their properties?
I'm 4 days in. I mean, you're asking me now to write, the next budget or, the next manifesto.
Oh, but you just spent ages saying, oh, I'm going to be very clear about this specific NHS policy that I'm going to be insistent about telling you and very granular in the detail, even though it was vague in the end. But now, I don't know, it's only been a week, hasn't it? So, we're confident we can do this and confident we can do that. He can cram it. But when it suits him, come on, I'm only 4 days in here, Laura.
Manifesto.
Well, I
have a manifesto and I'm serious about sticking to the manifesto.
But you said there was room for manoeuvre on tax, and I'm asking you because you've often argued very clearly that there should be more tax, whether on property or land. You're interested passionately in fixing social care, which is a very costly thing to do. We know the country's debts are enormous, the demands on defence are enormous. So there's lots of economists that would look at that and say...
You see, these people who backed him to become Prime Minister in the first place, Laura, just happened to be, and I'll check some pre-prepared notes I have here. Yeah, looks like they're all rich as pig shit, Laura, so that might probably explain his hesitancy on committing to tax on the rich. Maybe you couldn't figure that out for £330,000 a year?
You've got to find money from somewhere. So I'll ask again, should Gary Lineker and his wealthy friends be ready to pay more tax? Because you said before, maybe they will have to pay a little more.
Well, let me answer it this
just
way.
A bit.
There are people here...
It's ridiculous, because just, single-digit percentile would do so much more for the economy. That, again, reiterates just how much wealth they do hold. But they wouldn't miss it. They would still be ludicrously wealthy. They'd still be able to afford all of the luxuries that they're accustomed to now. It's just that they like the internal contest of, what number are you on the Times Rich list, or how, close to Bezos and Musk and all of those people are you, or they just want an extra zero for the sake of saying that they've got, 11, 12 figures, whatever the fuck they've got. But they've got a lot more than most people, And now the stats, 50 people in Britain owning and having more than 50%. Truly staggering. The wealth gap gets ever bigger. And all Burnham wants to do is, again, stall and drag his feet. This is weak. Very poor.
It's Manchester who pay a much higher council tax than people living in much larger homes in London. So the Chancellor, before, Rachel Reeves, was right to start to reform council tax, to create some fairness there in relation to people.
Okay, everybody in chat who is watching live in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, please do let me know relative to before Labour took over, whether your council tax has gone up or down. That is, if you've stayed in the same place, you might have moved house into a different band. Don't make it too complicated. But if you've stayed in the same place and you do know, you have noticed, post in chat, just say up or down. Or if it's the same, put the same. But I think it would be pretty easy to put test to that particular claim as well. Aside from the fact that we do know every reform council that Labour have opened the door for has put the taxes up as well. It doesn't matter who runs your council. I just would like to know whether your council tax has gone up or down in the Labour government. It's not about the decisions of the council itself. It's about the claim that Andy Burnham's trying to make here. Up. Adam, thank you for your response. We got one up. So that's 1-0 for the Ups.
In homes that are much greater value, who haven't seen their council tax go up over the years because of the failure to revalue the banding. So, you know, that's an example of something that I think was right.
So you would look at reforming the council tax system?
But I am also saying to you that we need to honour the manifesto upon which Labour was elected, and if I was to bring forward any changes, obviously people would rightly say, well, is this consistent with that manifesto? So, you know, there are big decisions ahead. You are right about that. You know, I need to be very prudent when it comes to the public finances. I will stick to the fiscal rules, and I know you know, people try and you know, create a sense that I won't take that cautious approach. I will take.
Okay, well, what I'll say is, again, you can't have your cake and eat it. You're going to follow through on the manifesto and within the fiscal rules as well. That's going to be very difficult, because if it was simple, then Starmer would have spent the last 2 years doing it and not just throwing shit down the pan. It wasn't all about Mandelson. Maybe the Mandelson thing was one of the final nails in the coffin as well, and there were the from the early days, the reports of the gifts and all the corporate gifts and that sort of shit. But mostly it was policy. Mostly it was people still looking at the monthly income and outgoings and figuring out that he was just the same as the Tories, if not worse. Because that's how people will really judge the government, no matter how many promo videos or number 10 fucking north, south, east, west you want to try and pull out your arse, Andy.
That cautious approach.
I suppose you face choices for a whole generation. Whether it's the scale of the debt, whether it is the demands on defence, and you hinted there also during that by-election campaign, there were some concerns about whether or not you really were going to stick to the economic guidelines that Rachel Reeves had set down. But I suppose, where is the pain going to come? Because capping bus fares, giving a pub a grand off their tax bill, that might be very, very welcome. But that's the pleasure, the goodies that you're...
Pains me to agree with Kussenberg, but so far he's been very nicely. He hasn't said, no, look, this is where the difficult decisions and tough choices are going to come. Because we know that they're coming. We know that they're coming. It's just that, like I said at the start, they reckon that it'll be easy to take from Burnham if it's Burnham telling us that there are going to be more cuts instead of Starmer, basically, in the nice, softly, smiley way that he's going to do it, instead of the, you know, difficult choices and tough decisions way of putting it across to the public.
Happy as a new Prime Minister to dole out. What people want to know is, where is the pain going to come?
Here in Greater Manchester, I took on the bus industry, the bus companies, because they were running a system that was working for them.
Well, Adam, I'll say you do have a right to cake, brother, and nobody can take that away from you, and goddamn anybody who tries to. Absolutely. Maybe that's put us all in the mood for a bit of cake. I did have a couple of biscuits just before the show started. That was rather pleasant.
And it was painful to a degree, because the bus companies made me go all the way to the High Court, but I fought them and I won that argument, and I got the ability to put buses back under public control here. Then if you look at water, you could say, right, a similar approach is needed. You take on the vested...
I'll look at water and go, oh, it's full of fucking shite, just like you are.
Interest. The water industry in Britain, it's a system where the shareholders never lose and the public never win.
And are you going to
so the
take
pain comes, I'm afraid, in disrupting some of those...
Are you going to make them swim in it like Coke bin faces? Because those are serious policies for a safer Britain. And later on in the stream, we're going to be going through his 20-point manifesto for Clacton, which has come out, which I'm looking forward to sharing with you as well. That's the real deal now in 2026, where politics is concerned. Burnham, come on, get with it, dinosaur. And I make no bones about it, about the fact that literally, realistically, we're talking about a global shortage of clean water on a huge scale within the next 15 years, around 2040, according to people like Bill McGuire, who we'll be hearing from later. Oh, it's going to be a really chirpy feature as we go through some of the latest climate stats. But for now, let's stick with Burnham's sewage
arrangements and saying to those vested interests, you can't have it like this anymore.
Okay, when it gets to difficult decisions, the public in the last couple of decades have, in many cases, felt that politicians haven't listened to them when it comes to decisions about immigration. Under the current government plans, the suggestion is that people in this country legally, migrants, might have to wait 10 years or perhaps more before they are allowed to stay. Will you carry on with that plan?
Well, that proposal has been under consultation.
And what's your view as the new Prime Minister?
Well, I come in and I am listening to people's views and will...
You've not really gone in properly. You've set up a pretend office that's 200 miles away.
...to a fair resolution. You know, I think the worry that people have is the feeling that it's out of control and that we don't have a great...
Yeah, but that's not true. That's been whipped up by Reform and by the mainstream media. And now it is, if you survey people, most of them will say that immigration is the number one concern because it's all this fear that's been whipped up for years and decades by these absolute shills. Okay? We're a country that's thrived on migration. And to put the term crisis after it is not accurate in terms of description of the levels. It was only a matter of time before this issue came up in the interview, I guess. But now it is what people want to know, what politicians think or are going to act on. Unfortunately, it's been wedged firmly into public consciousness. But you really have to get real and get real with the stats on migration, especially on crime in relation to migration, which is the thing that the right-wing parties will often lie about to whip up the fear. And we see that week in, week out, not just in the UK, but with incidents all across the world as well. It's disgusting and it's really worrying, and that's what's caused all of this xenophobia in the UK. We're a country that's proud of its diversity, celebrates its diversity. We are a mix of all kinds of countries and traditions from all over Europe and the wider world, and have been as long as we've existed geologically. So take that, Purage.
As a country, and therefore we don't have the right procedures.
So you might
place.
look again, though you're not persuaded that that's the right plan, because people might be worried about that.
Going to look at what's been said during the consultation, and I mentioned social care before, and I see people contributing.
Cool cats. I'd prefer if you by name, by nature, just cool it down a bit with that in the chat. I think that's fair warning. There's nothing wrong with fair debate in the chats on particular issues, but certainly won't have any name calling here on this platform. Thank you very much.
To our society by working in social care, who've in many cases come from around the world to work there or work in the NHS. I don't think people actually say that is something that we don't want. We want people, when they're here and making a contribution, to be able to be, if you like, supported and
But you said clearly
here.
you're not yet persuaded that that is the right way to go, so that people will be interested.
Well, I'm looking at the consultation. I think it's fair enough for me to say 4 days into the job, where there has been discussions going on, that I kind of come in, look at the situation and say, right, let me see what people are saying, let me see the balance of the arguments. I think people would expect me to bring a new pair of eyes to these issues and find where the fairness is and the right point of balance. And that's why I have put a pause on the early release scheme. So it's why the review I've initiated is real.
Sorry, again, Cool Cats, I'll be the judge of who is or isn't using any hate speech terms or speciesism, if that even is a thing, in the chats. I'm perfectly capable of moderating my own chat. Thanks a lot. Fair warning.
And, you know, if changes are needed, I will make them.
Just as you're trying to give people a bit of breathing space with the cost of living, you're saying, give me a bit of breathing space.
You know, it's right that where concerns have been expressed about elements of where the government is at, that I do take the moment to look afresh, and I'm currently doing that.
One of the things that is also on your desk is a conflict on the edge.
Which one? He's got two. Is it desk in north or the desk in the south?
Of our
there was two Jags Prescott, wasn't there? And now we've got two desks Burnham.
The Ukraine war rages on. Would you take a call from Vladimir Putin?
I would.
I think that'd be a bit awkward now during this live interview, if I'm being perfectly honest. Oh, you mean just in general? Do you have any interest in international diplomacy, I think is the wider question. So, if we're going to be pouring, 100 billion that Starmer promised into Ukraine, he is meeting with, I think it was today actually, he met with Volodymyr Zelensky to get the blank checkbook out yet again. It would be very one-sided and undiplomatic if he didn't speak to Vladimir Putin. That is, if he has an interest in resolving this diplomatically over a table, or perhaps he has some sort of strange, wild-eyed idea that you might be able to invent Russia, which is effectively a continent, because it's by far the largest country in the world. It sits on two continents. Yeah, I won't get more into the wider geography of Russia or the sort of implausibility of full land-scale invasion thereof. There are many historic examples, of course. But back to this issue, it's got to be a yes if you're going to be diplomatic about the situation.
Have to know the circumstances in which that was being requested.
So the signal from one phone goes down a telephone line and via satellites and terrestrial antennas. It's translated and received at the other end. You're able to speak to somebody in another part of the world in real time. That's the circumstances of a telephone call, Andy.
So it's hard to answer that question directly. I would obviously want to, first and foremost, take my lead from the person that I would want to hear from, who would be President Zelensky, who will be coming here. I look forward to welcoming him. Again, I pay
Sorry, I think I did give fair warning there for Cool Cats. Just going to let Cool Cats cool off for a bit in the chat. Apologies, I just had to rewind this. Actually, I wasn't paying attention whilst I was dealing with that for a few seconds. I might have missed something fundamentally important. Perhaps he's going to tell us the meaning of life. Yeah, I'm not sure if that user's been in the chat before, but I'm certainly not going to tolerate that sort of language, especially in full caps, against other watchers, viewers. The Brew Crew. Watchers. Fucking hell.
I would have to know the circumstances in which that was being requested. So it's hard to answer that question
right, Putin.
Directly. I would obviously want...
I've not been told the answers to that one yet. I'm really sorry, Laura. Fuck, you've really got me there.
To
turn to Ringo Starr.
First and foremost, take my lead from the person that...
Donald, you will do what Donald fucking Trump tells you to do. The moment you get over to Washington, yeah, you'll be straight on the floor picking up the papers. Let me get those papers for you there, Mr. Trump.
I would want to hear from, who would be President Zelensky, who will be coming here. I look forward to welcoming him. Again, I pay tribute to the former Prime Minister who gave him huge personal
Where's
support.
the diplomacy
He will get
then?
Exactly the same from me. I would do not...
How do you expect to resolve this internationally if you're going to be so one-sided? Because that won't help broker any peace. This has to end with a brokerage of peace. It's the only way that it can end. This escalation now of military budgets is really concerning. It's really concerning because it looks as though they're just going to say, well, we'll all go for it and push against Russia, and off we go. They've got the recipe for World War III right there. Whether it comes from somewhere else before or not remains to be seen. But that certainly looks like the long-term future for Europe, the way that we're heading. And that's insane. Not just in terms of the loss of life that will ensue, of course, the cost, not just financially, but to the environment. But it won't work. It won't work. It will bog the entire world down into a quagmire, almost like, you know, Vietnam or Iraq, but on a global scale. And all I'll say is the doomsday clock ticks ever nearer, doesn't it, people? That's pretty scary. It's certainly not helpful from the UK's diplomatic perspective.
Nothing, absolutely nothing to undermine him in the conflict in which he is in. You know, my support for Ukraine is unwavering. It is 100%, and I will do what in Ukraine people think is the right thing that they need. They will have in me a loyal...
The reason this whole thing started, Burnham, is because there is a lot of varying opinion in Ukraine. You have parts of Ukraine that are Ukraine speaking, you have parts of Ukraine that are pro-Russian and Russian speaking. You also have literal fascists, literal I'll fucking say the word, I don't fucking care, neo-Nazis in Ukraine as well. It's a very bipartisan country that isn't clearly defined, so they will come at you with different opinions, which is almost again the fundamental reason for this start. Of course, Ukraine being a former state of the USSR.
Support, and I would do nothing that cuts across that position.
We've been listening carefully. You've thought about this job, becoming Prime Minister, for a long time. Mm-hmm. What you're saying to us today very clearly, and as you say, many people think it's completely legitimate, that there are a lot of things that you might need time to work out. There are a lot of things that you're not quite sure of yet. You want to think about. You use the phrase fresh eyes. You're asking for time. You might not have time because you've taken over midterm.
One thing, and there's not too much longer left on the interview, public debt, of course, rising public debt is one of the main issues that hasn't even been asked about.
I don't know if I am asking for time, because I've come in and, well, you know, I've been pretty active, right? This week I've been doing things, making moves. They're not the be-all and end-all.
You've been pointing your fucking phone at yourself and making a load of fucking me videos.
But they're signs of where I want to...
Oh, and by the way, I'm almost angry at myself for not having made mention of this yet on the live stream, because it was brought to my attention earlier today, in fact, that in this first week of his premiership alone, do you know how much this motherfucker's spent on flights? Do you know how much money this guy right here has spent on flights? And yes, I dropped the MF bomb. Because it's 30 grand. It's a month's worth of Kussenberg. Which is going to be a new currency, as I said, on yesterday's stream, by the way. What was that relative to again? Can't remember. But yes, £30,000. Can you hear me? Hello? Is it on? I think, well, it's back on the studio. I'll assume it's back full. Sorry if anybody experienced a couple of seconds buffering there. I think we're all right now. But yeah, private flights, 30 grand. He's giving Rishi fucking I Love Helicopters Sunak a run for his money already. Who else? Helipad at his constituency house. Fucking hell.
Go.
Immigration and
Council
defence
housing.
and social care, you have said you need time, and it may be immigration
Council
and
housing.
defence and social care, you have said you need time, and it may be perfectly legitimate, but
Well, no, because
This
let
guy-
me just come back to you. I mean, social care was on a longer path. I brought it straight forward. I mean, I've done the opposite actually on social care. Immigration, I'll take a quick decision on the issues, but there's been a consultation, so I'm just inheriting where we are on that issue.
30,000. Sorry, I just to come back to it, I still can't believe it. Wake up and smell the rosemaries, yeah, private jets up to Scotland, the dick. He really is. That's above the average and, I believe, the median salary in the UK. Yeah. Andrew Luke, thanks for the super chat. You dislike people who take selfies in the mirror. Yeah, kind of. I'm not a kind of a selfie person, I guess, on social. Well, this is a faceless channel, but outside of the channel as well, I guess. But thanks a lot for the super chat. Can we big up Andrew Luke? I totally agree with that sentiment. Do we pay for his flights? What? Yeah. Do you think he's burned through a third of his salary in the first week? Hell no. Yeah, that's out of our pockets. That's on our dime, as it were. Straight away. And this is Mr. of the People as well. And if you hark back to the Corbyn campaign, we saw those pictures and footage of him completely exhausted during campaigns on normal trains, not in first class, crammed out trains, often giving up his seat for other people and being crammed near the doors and scenes like that. And there he is, probably sipping his sweet Sancerre as he glides over the United Kingdom in his private jet, spewing out God knows how many tons of CO2 in the process as well. And then he's going to sit here and tell us that he's a man of the people who's going to put hope in every heart and make a change with environment and the climate crisis.
With all this bullshit that you think is so important, you can just kiss all that goodbye.
On early release, I've paused it, but it's only a brief pause, so I can make sure that I'm doing everything possible to maximise public safety. So no, to be honest with you, I've hit the ground running, and I've come into this job with real clarity about...
You've hit a runway flying is what you've done.
What I'm about.
But you say you coming to power will be the biggest change this country's seen in 4 decades. Thing is, 25,000 people voted for you in Makerfield. The 48 million people...
We saw this other clip yesterday as well.
...in the electorate in this country haven't had a chance to have a say on any of your plans. Do you rule out having a general election before 2029?
There is no early general
He does.
election. And the thing I would say to you is 20...
Oh, what a giveaway.
plus,
Do you hear that?
how many million people you just
That's
mentioned
what I'm on about.
voted for a manifesto? We're in a parliamentary democracy, so that is what people voted for. And
Do
I've
you
said
rule
to you
it out?
earlier in this interview that I will honour that manifesto.
What was it that guy used to... What was he called now? The Brill Cream thing going on. Sometimes glasses, sometimes not. Keith! Yeah, Keith, I remember. When was that? That was like, what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, and the thing about it being his Labour Party, Keir Starmer's Labour Party, there was quite a lot of emphasis on that, wasn't there? And yes, when people go and vote in a general election, most people, non-political nerds, just they look at the leader. Of course, the book always stops with the leader of the party, but most people consider the leader, unless they're sort of, hardcore members. I've been voting Labour for the last 56 years until this whoever came along. But yeah, those types of people excluded. People are thinking about the leader. People were thinking about Keir Starmer. The result might have been different if it would have said you'll get Keir Starmer for 2 years and then 2 years of Andy Burnham. That's just a hypothetical. But no, it's not the same. Do you really think the average person on the street properly reads through the manifestos? I don't. I know that they don't.
And, obviously I have faced the public in Makerfield. At the time I stood forward in the by-election, people would say, oh my goodness, that constituency voted reform in May, that's a risk. I went and faced the public and I went out onto those doorsteps. So, I have done that. I've got the support.
You're a total bloody shambles!
And it's a parliamentary democracy that we're in.
Rule it out?
Well, I'm going to rule it out. Yeah, there's no early general election. I don't think people want it.
Let me interrupt again. Just had the thought that because he said it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen, because this is Andy Burnham that we're talking about.
The opinion polls might say there's some people do, some people don't. But the thing is, I just think what I most need to do is get Britain focused on getting the country back where it should be, getting it working. And I do want to be serious.
So that was where the clip that we got yesterday ended. Because I remember being very frustrated by those final words, just to get this working. And there was a work switch that wasn't on. Who forgot to flick it on? It's a good job Andrew Burnham came in and checked.
About this point, I am trying to build a new politics, more collaborative than it's been before.
New politics, more collaborative, again, don't know what that means.
And I think that...
And I do a bit of politics here and there.
That, at the end of the day, is what's in the country's best interest right now. Us working
getting ourselves out of the climate crisis is in our country and every country's primary and best interest. And, of course, wealth. The rebalancing of wealth inequality. Second to that, which would solve a whole myriad of problems. That saves me from talking about with that. So there, first two.
Differently as politicians across divide. I'm sitting here almost a week in. I'm really pleased with the start that's been made, but I know there's so much more to do. But I don't think
You've got to clock up a lot more air miles, don't you, Andy? Just quick private jet over to Cardiff, lunch in Paris, and then home for supper on the Thames. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be Burnham's voice. I don't know where that came from.
We get there by going back into another sort of divisive process. Let's all face forward together and get this country working again.
Sorry, you can't see me doing the Picard thing, as it were. Yeah, that's just bile. That really is bile. Not the Shut Up Wesley one, the other one.
Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Well, you weren't too pressy either, were you, Kussenberg? What's in the credits, of course. Just in case you forgot, the presenter was Laura Kussenberg. It just... it's called the Laura Kussenberg interview, in case you didn't know, but I bet she went into the editor's office and went, You know, just a thing about the credits here. You will make sure that you let them know I'm the presenter. Well, I think they'll know anyway, Laura. It's in the title of the. Just put it in the fucking, and it's gotta be on first, all right? Or you're all fucking sacked. Make 300 grand a year, you bastard. And these other people had various inputs. Right, that was Laura Kussenberg. She does politics, her. Arduous. And I'll say that about a lot of interviews when we get to the end. But it definitely falls into the arduous category. That one. Let's get some music on. Yeah, it was a Burnha-rama, Panorama, as it were. Burnha-rama special. The Burnha-rama special. Tonight. Coming up. And they skipped the Sunday Kussenberg show yesterday because of it. That was the deal. Why is it the World in Action theme? Was it the World in Action? Is that an older TV show? Akin to Panorama. I can't say I know the theme tune off the top of my head. Was it pretty similar to that one? So I'm not feeling any more optimistic about Burnham than I was before I saw that. I don't know about you.
Very poor indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
But we dwelled on that for quite a while, didn't we? So we'll get on to other matters immediately.
Down with it. Yes, get on with it.
I will, and I'll more or less try not to interrupt on this one because it speaks for itself. Now, there's a new campaign out there. We're going to be talking about a couple of campaigns, one of which I'm already involved with, Take Back Power, a bit later. But first of all, this brand new one, 4 billion dead. You might have heard the phrase going around. What's it all about? Well, in terms of proof, climate science, it's not just in physics and other realms, it's also, bizarrely, within finance, because yes, even capitalists have a sort of interest in what is going to happen with climate change, and there's been some research. It's not been buried in the sense that the fossil fuel companies' research during the 1970s was, but within the appendix of a very detailed report from a group of insurance companies looking into obviously sort of liability and risk and things like that as a consequence of the climate crisis, there is this appendix that says that after a 3-degree rise as a global average rise in temperature, of course, this will cause the deaths of at least 4 billion people. Now, bearing in mind that 2 degrees plus is already kind of baked in, we're definitely heading for that anyway. Again, it's just another piece of evidence of how severe these effects are going to be, and even insurance companies know about this. So we're going to hear from Bill McGuire, who I've spoke about a bit before on the channel. This was on a Zoom that I was on a few days ago. It's out in public. There's a link in the chat for the full recorded Zoom with Bill McGuire and Roger Hallam, who's one of the co-founders of a lot of climate projects, including Just Stop All, which I was involved with as well as this 4 Billion Dead, this new project which is starting. Bill had some audio issues, shall we say, during the call. He had to re-record his bits, but I've snipped together some of Bill and Roger's segments from the talk, so you can check this out. It really is shocking. Bill's going to explain a bit about the science behind it. We heard from him recently with regards to the Thwaites Glacier, of course, as well. And I've had the pleasure of hosting him at a talk. He's a great climate scientist, really nice guy as well. So Bill first, and then we're going to hear from Roger.
Hello everyone, it's great to have a chance to talk to you about the increasingly dire straits we find ourselves in. I want to begin by saying something about where we are now and what we can expect in the next few decades. I'll then focus on the bigger picture and look at how global heating compares with other hot episodes in the geological record. So where are we now? Global heating has averaged more than 1.5 degrees C for the last 3 years. This 1.5 degrees figure wasn't picked out of a hat. It represents the aspirational limit of the Paris Climate Accord, and it's been defined as the dangerous climate change guardrail. Now we're on the cusp of crashing through it permanently. This temperature threshold is especially critical as it coincides with a number of key climate tipping points, including collapse of the Greenland and West Antarctic ice sheets, which together will result in an unstoppable 12-metre sea level rise. Because of the way that permanent temperature...
12 metres. 12 metres. Not 12 feet. 12 metres. It's 36 feet. Give or take.
...increases are calculated, we won't know when we've passed 1.5 degrees until 10 years after the event. But with the building hyper El Nino pushing up the planet's temperature rise to more than 1.6, quite possibly 1.7 degrees C in the next 12 months, the only way we'll see 1.5 degrees again is by looking in the rearview mirror. So what next? In the last decade or so...
Yeah, as sorry to interrupt again, I'll let it run a lot smoother. But just wanted to point out as well, remember people, the climate that we have at the moment is the coolest that will ever be in our lifetimes. And we're in the middle of a heat wave. The events that we're seeing right now are the very least of it, as fires rage through Spain and France as I speak, and as Bill was speaking yesterday, as is their endurance and severity. I'll try not to interrupt as much, sorry. It's just that Bill reminded me about that fact that I think is really worth remembering.
The rate of global heating has doubled to 0.35 C a decade. That translates to 1 degree every 28 years. Without further acceleration, this would mean the 2 C mark being breached around 2040. The thing is, this doesn't fit with satellite data, which suggests much faster heating. In fact, a new paper yet to be peer-reviewed points to satellite data indicating a heating rate of close to 0.5 degrees C per decade. Accordingly, we can see a cataclysmic 3 C rise by 2050. And this chimes with the predictions of a 2025 report by the German Meteorological and Physical Societies. The bottom line is that the whole idea that current policies point to a 2.6 or 2.7 degrees C rise by 2100 is complete bollocks.
Yep.
The reality is that a return to the conditions of the late Pliocene 3 million years ago are already locked in, and I'll say a bit more about that later. Which brings me to the bigger picture. We can only appreciate the reality of climate breakdown by putting current global heating into context.
Yeah, Darren, we be fucked, but really you do have to hear this. Bill's an excellent climate scientist. I don't know if he does mention his 2 books, Hothouse Earth and Inhabitant's Guide, which is an excellent read, and I'm just getting into his recent one as well. But the facts are scary, but they have to be, you really have to confront your fears. The science is undeniable.
and looking at how it fits into the 4.6 billion year history of our world. If we look back into deep time, we find that our planet has been hotter than it is now for most of its life, often much hotter. In fact, greenhouse or hothouse conditions, which means no ice at the poles, have prevailed across more than 3/4 of our planet's history. The thing is, this has not the slightest relevance to our current predicament. What makes our situation so dangerous is the astonishing speed of heating. The reality is not that we've been here before, but that we've never been here before, because our world is heating faster now than at any time in the geological record. And that means 10 times faster than during the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, or PETM, 56 million years ago, and at least 20 times faster than at the end of the last ice age. The last 50 million years or so has seen a gradual cooling of the planet, culminating in the ice age, which began about 2.5 million years ago. But now we're rewinding this trend so that our world is undergoing what I call rapid prehistorification. Already our climate has pretty much reverted to that of the last interglacial period, 125,000 years ago, known as the Eemian. Then the global temperature was about 2 degrees C hotter than pre-industrial, and sea levels were 6 to 9 meters higher. As we continue to pump out 41 billion tons of CO2 a year, that's the weight of about 800,000 Titanics, things are not going to end there. Governments are rowing back hard on green measures, fossil fuel corporations are planning for expansion, and it's becoming clear, as I mentioned earlier, the return to a Pliocene climate is the best we can hope for. Now, this was a time when CO2 levels in the atmosphere were significantly lower than they are today, at 330 to 400 parts per million. Today they're about 428 ppm. But the temperature was between 2.5 and 4 degrees C above pre-industrial, and sea level was 15 to 25 meters higher. Published modelling research points to Pliocene conditions beginning to emerge in the continental heartlands as soon as the 2030s and spreading out from there.
You heard that right, yeah. In the 2030s, potentially just 4 years' time.
If we want this to be as far back as we rewind the climate clock, then emissions need to be reined in and they need to peak before 2040.
Don't all run out and buy toilet roll at once.
And then fall rapidly. If this doesn't happen, then we're likely to rewind the climate clock further back to the Miocene period 15 million years ago. CO2 concentrations then were 400 to 600 parts per million, so a bit lower to moderately higher than they are today, but the temperature was 6 to 8 degrees C higher, which is surprising and worrying considering the relatively low CO2 levels, and this suggests that we might be missing something in our models. Sea levels were as much as 50 meters higher than they are today. If we keep going on regardless and burn through all known fossil fuel reserves, we will add another 3.5 trillion tons of CO2 to the atmosphere. And that's on top of the 2.5 trillion.
Trillions with T's, trillions.
Emitted so far. This would bring a double-figure global temperature rise, and it would rewind the climate clock back more than 50 million years.
Sorry, I just noticed I didn't put one of the gifted memberships from earlier on the membership goal as well. Apologies. Yeah, we started on 111. Nothing gets past my left eye, I assure you.
To the ice-free early Eocene hothouse. Whether humanity would survive is extremely doubtful. With the return to the Pliocene effectively locked in, catastrophic climate breakdown is now inevitable. According to a number of recent analyses, this will have devastating impacts on society and economy within decades. One study predicts societal breakdown beginning as soon as 2040, another raises the spectre of deaths measured in the billions by mid-century.
Yeah. 4 billion dead. You're starting to see the early mentions of that concept, the billions of deaths. And also, as we've brought up before on the channel, societal collapse by, excuse me, 2040. 14 years. Yeah. It's easy to see why there are metaphors, if you like, or whatnot, with the concept of an asteroid or a meteor heading towards the planet, like in the film Don't Look Up, for example. Yeah. 14 years. If it came out tomorrow in the news, NASA or whomever, some independent astronomer somewhere is now famous for discovering that we're all fucked, like it happens in the films. Some, unknown citizen astronomer discovers it first and has to try and convince the powers that be that it's actually real, and so on and so forth. Common in quite a few film plot threads as well. But that comparison, that metaphor, is very easy to make when you hear stats like that. The collapse of society, the death of billions of people within 14 years. By 2050, just 24 years away. It's terrifying. And as you're saying in the chat there, Rose, England wants to drill more in Scotland, of course. Rosebank and Jackdaw being the two main ones now that Burnham didn't bring up in his interview, but he wants to expand and authorise lifting moratoriums on oil and gas. And that has come to the attention of certain climate organisations. It has to be said. This won't go unnoticed.
There's no disguising the fact that this would be horrific, but there is a silver lining of sorts. Early societal and economic breakdown would result in a precipitous fall in emissions that would halt the rewinding climate clock in the Pliocene or perhaps the Miocene. This would at least save us from a return to an early Eocene hellhole and likely oblivion. So what does all this tell us? Firstly, every ton of carbon emitted rewinds the climate clock that little bit further back and brings an ever hotter world, ultimately higher sea levels, increasingly hospitable conditions. So every ton of carbon we can stop being emitted is a win of sorts. Are you listening, Mr. Burnham? Secondly, we're no longer fighting to prevent catastrophic climate breakdown, which is already baked in. We're fighting for survival. Thirdly, while we still desperately need to slash emissions, we also need to learn fast how to prevail on a hotter planet with higher seas and supercharged weather at a time when society and economy are beginning to crumble. Fourthly and lastly, in anticipation of the splintering of central control, we need to start to organise now at a local level. And that means town, village, street, block of flats even, to start planning for what measures we can take to keep our homes cool, for how we can manage water supplies, how we can grow as much of our own food as possible, how we can generate our own energy, and how we can best keep ourselves and our loved ones safe in an increasingly Wild West world. I want to leave you with 3 quotes that are especially pertinent to our time and the decades ahead. Despite our undoubtedly bleak prospects, knowledge is empowering and motivating, and we can only face up to the climate chaos that's coming if we know its full extent and act accordingly. As James Garfield, 20th President of the United States, put it, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. To flag the precariousness...
Yeah, I've heard that one before, actually. I'm pretty certain. That's a great quote.
...of our existence in 2026, even in one of the world's most developed countries. The words of early 20th century writer and journalist Alfred Henry Lewis are especially relevant. Only 9 meals separate humanity from anarchy.
Well, revolution, I think it was. Or it might have been anarchy. But it's the same thing that's implied. Yeah, society will only tolerate not having 9 meals consecutively before it goes out, and obviously there's a large amount of civil unrest. It's a sociological not, well, sort of fact, but it's, yeah, it's strongly passed around in sociological studies as well. But I'm sure that I've often heard it in terms of revolution, but completely agree with what Bill's saying here. Sorry, the hour grows late. Let's crack on with this.
And to conclude, it's an incontrovertible truth that the more civilized we've become, so the world around us has progressively deteriorated. As the great American writer and thinker Ralph Waldo Emerson noted, the end of the human race will be that it will eventually die of civilization. It's up to us, however, that we need to prove this wrong and to do our utmost to make sure that we can keep a light shining in the coming darkness. And I'll stop there. The bottom line is that our situation is grim and it will get much more so, but we must never forget that hope dies last. Thank you all for listening.
That's Bill McGuire there. I think I'm going to share Roger's part on another stream. It's just gone midnight here, still got one or two bits to get through. But that was pretty harrowing as well, of course, by itself. Bill McGuire, always excellent, but terrifying. I think that quote he mentioned there sums it all up about the truth, of course, being terrifying before it sets you free. So apologies, Roger. Sorry, Roger's friend of mine as well. Co-founder of XR and JSO, of course. He was there to say a bit about the project. There's a link in the description if you can't wait until the next stream, if you want to see the Zoom in full. Do go and check it out. It's gotten a bit quiet in the background, hasn't it, Bill? We'll have to swiftly move on to hot seats next. Yes, Count Binface will cheer us up. Short synopsis. Sorry. Short synopsis, where Bill McGuire is concerned. We're all fucked, so we've got to fuck capitalism. Pretty much. But there is hope in the air, and there is hope in the air in Clacton as we take a look at Binface's 20-point manifesto in hot seats. I know it's late, but no one would forgive you having a bit of a dance on a Monday.
Today I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-On-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election.
Alright, what's happening? Twenty promises in this manifesto. Let's go through them. These are specific to Clacton, I believe. Right, I'll get through these as quick as I can here. Number one, he he says, I will boost the region's economy, prestige and fame. Number 2, I will cut your taxes and raise everyone else's. 3, bus fares to be capped at £1.99 and a 99 flake ice cream to cost no more than 99 pence. Number 4, I promise to spend more... I'm not doing a bin face voice for it. He says, I promise to spend more time in Clacton-On-Sea than in Washington DC and to champion the area. 5 MPs who resign mid-parliament to be barred from the resulting by-election. 6 MPs who change party mid-parliament to be forced to face a by-election. Number 7, I pledge to build at least one affordable house. Number 8, arcade grabber games to be made fairer so players actually have a chance to win. And number 9, oil and gas companies to pay for solar panels for everyone. That's from Jack, aged 10 apparently. Number 10, regeneration of Walton Pier. It's just as great as Clacton Pier, apparently. Number 11, a windfall tax on cosy crime novels written for or written by celebrities. Written air quotes there, of course. Number 12, potholes to be filled using copies of the 2024 Labour Party manifesto. 13, Parliament all to be moved to my new bin HQ in Weasley while the Palace of Westminster is restored. Bit of a dig at number 10 North there, I think. Like that one. Number 14, people who drive past Clacton Station with annoyingly loud exhausts to lose their licence. Favour of that one as well. 15, I will not accept £5 million gifts from crypto billionaires, brackets on Earth. The citation. At least he's honest. At least he's fair, you know. Number 16, a referendum on whether Pluto should regain its planet status. Yes, there is actually controversy in this within the scientific community as well about whether it should or shouldn't be classified as a planet. It's good to see Count Binfrace bringing this into the public realm. Number 17, of course, it's another issue with the location of a hand dryer, this time the hand dryer in the gents' toilets at the Great Himalayas restaurant in Southport. Oh, that's a bit closer to where we are, in Merseyside. We're not in Merseyside, that's where Southport is. To be moved to a more sensible position, so it's the Great Himalayas restaurant now. Who are going to be subject to a relocated hand dryer. Sensible. Just as sensible as the Cronin Treaty in Uxbridge, which he's already followed through on. This is a man, a recyclone, who follows through on his policies. The final 3, number 18, Wayne Rooney to be the new expert on the summariser at BBC Eurovision. I think that's in relation to what he said about the halftime show at the World Cup final. Yeah, when he just said it was crap. Number 19, Count Binface to represent the UK at Eurovision 2027, with Clacton hosting Eurovision 2028. Big ambitions coming in late there. And finally, number 20, I stand by my manifestos. CFAX speakerphones nationalising Adele, renaming HS2 FFS1, and the hand dryer at the Cronin Treaty. He's got it all covered. Fantastic. So that's several promises within one final element there of the 20-point manifesto. Excellent stuff from Count Binface. I think my favourite one there was the one about Parliament being moved to Bin HQ in Weasley while the Palace of Westminster's restored. Like that one. Always a different pub. Yeah, he's campaigned quite a few times, hasn't he? It's quite a long story. There was a copyright or licensing issue with his initial costume, the Buckethead one, and then someone appropriated it, won against him, standing as Buckethead whilst he was, now Binface, and then Binface continued its quite a strange story where Binface is concerned. Oh, okay. Before we move on, I have to thank Andrew Luke for another gifted membership. That takes us up to 114. Awesome stuff. Thanks again, Andy. The Rabid the Rabbit. Hope you enjoy your perks. Please do big up Andrew Luke again in the chat, please, everyone. Just another reminder that we collabed with Andrew Luke on his Epinomous channel fairly recently. That was Series 2, Episode 1 of Screen Cleaner. Hit collabs on My Left Eye or check out Andrew Luke's playlists, as well as the other quality content if you want to find that episode. Go and subscribe. Solidarity once again for that gifted membership, Andrew. Yes, I just might as well sneak this into Hot Seats for the sake of brevity as well, because it concerns Nigel Farage, more specifically Reform Headquarters, of course, an organisation I'm involved with at the moment, Take Back Power. We're outside Reform HQ today. I wasn't there personally. These are a few friends of mine who were down there. It's part of the Reclaim the Flag campaign that's undergoing with Take Back Power as well. You can go to takebackpower.net if you want to find out more about the organisation. And another gifted coming in from Andrew. That's very generous of you, brother. Thank you very much. Again, we update the total. And twice, yeah, 116. Excuse me. Because you have to have a nice round number. Okay, fair enough. That's really generous. Thanks again. Can we give a triple big up, I guess, to Andrew Luke in the chat for anybody who's watching live? So yeah, back to Take Back Power. This just a short video explaining what happened outside Reform HQ earlier today. Reclaim the flags.
Here today outside Millbank Tower, which is where Reform has its headquarters, as well as a bunch of other Fox companies, to give Reform a message that it's not immigrants that divide our country, that cause rampant inequality, but the billionaires that fund their party. We're demanding that we tax the super rich.
Yeah, short and simple message, as you saw there in the clips, part of the Reclaim the Flag campaign as well. Go to the organisation website if you want to find out more about that. I shan't prattle on too much as the hour grows late. But really nice to see that happening right outside HQ. And that's it for Hot Seats.
Today I will resign as...
That's not the intro. That's the intro, not the outro. Bill, can I speak to you by the industrial compactor when we're done on the stream?
We got one!
Okay!
Music's too loud. The neighbours have been complaining. You just watch your steps, Sonny.
More hot seats to come, of course. We've got the Manchester mayoral race coming to its conclusion this week. Something we're getting quite excited about as a Manchester-based channel. Things look good for the Greens as well, as we said yesterday. Certainly on the rise in terms of voting trends. But that will be the last main topic of the stream. But stay put, people. We're going to be raiding into all shorts. Actually, we've got left of the box as well. Any preference? Very, very quickly in chats if you've got any preference between the two. So that's all shorts or left of the box. Two friends of the channel. Let's see what we can do to show some solidarity. And I'll say a couple of quick hellos whilst you're deciding. Nina Sadie in the chat. I don't think I've said hello this eve. Hope you're well. Otherwise, I will select at random. But whilst you're deciding, I'll put the member scroll up, of course. Always give a shout out to members twice on live streams. Never short of gratitude where support for the channel is concerned. And of course, super chat's still open, as well as super stickers if you're watching live. And if you're catching up later on, please consider using super thanks or the link to the Buy Me a Coffee page. It's in the description of the stream. And oh yes, Katie Marshall's on as well. Just scrolling down, there's quite a few upcomings wedged in there. Some people have quite a few, so that gives us a three-way selection. Well, Katie Marshall's now the first name that's come up in the chat. And nobody wants to... Should we go with Katie? I think we'll go with Katie. We've got Andrew Luke in the chat as well, and Katie featured in the same episode that we collabed on. So we'll take that as a sign. Not that I'm a theist of any description, of course. But yeah, I'll lock that in. Let's show some solidarity with Katie Marshall. Right, that's all good to go. Thank you very much for being here with us this evening. Yeah, sorry we had to put that one person in a timeout before, but yeah, I think it was pretty fair where that's concerned. Everybody else has been very well behaved. It's been nice to see you all and chat as usual. Until next time, I've been your humble host Lefty. This has been the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'll finish off by saying power to the people. Free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan and Yemen. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Don't watch the news, be the news. I'm my left eye. We'll be seeing you soon. Good night everybody. Solidarity.
It's what Hitler and Goering did, and it is textbook. And if you think the next time it happens, we're gonna recognize it because they're wearing scary uniforms, you're out of your damn mind.